Hey y'all, thanks for tuning in to North Atlanta Living. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about the pros and cons of buying new construction in Atlanta, Georgia. So here we go. We're going to start with the pros, we're going to move into the cons, and then if you stay through the entire video, I'm also going to share some really valuable tips on what you can do if you have decided to buy new construction. Okay, our first pro is it's new. Duh. I mean, like, the best pro of the pros of new construction is that everything's brand new. You're gonna be the first one to own that home. You're gonna be the first one to walk on that carpet if you do have carpet. So, I mean, silly pro, but at the end of the day, it's new. So that's amazing. Number two pro, likely with new construction, you're going to have some lower monthly utility bills. Generally now, the way builders work is they are looking to build a greener product. That means it's going to be more energy efficient. If they do include appliances with the sale of the home, those appliances are traditionally going to be a little bit more energy efficient. The windows are usually going to be those like double pane vinyl windows that really do a great job of keeping energy, and probably look forward to some lower cost energy bills, which is my third pro for buying new construction is that if the home's not built yet, you also get to pick out some of the finishes. You can even pay for some additional upgrades, which we'll talk about in my tips section of today's video. If you like to be someone who has some like design qualities, and you don't have to deal with a kitchen with colors of cabinets that you don't like, because you'll get to pick the colors of the cabinets. So, okay, and my last pro for new construction is that most of the time your new construction home is also going to come with some kind of warranty. There's just a really nice feeling when you're buying a brand new home and then within the first year or the first 2 years, have to replace the water heater. Like, again, everything is new, so you really don't have to be so concerned about having this big nest egg in case something happens. Let's talk about some of the not so amazing things. Really, the first con I would say is just the price, and not to say like it's gonna be so much more expensive than pre-existing homes, but the price of a new construction home is the price of that home. So whatever really the builder decides to list that home at, especially if the market's tight at all, which I mean in today's market, like hello, it's super tight. When you're thinking about new construction, just remember there's probably not going to be a ton of wiggle room on negotiating that price down. That development continues to get developed, the prices of those homes are going to increase. Now, one reason for this is over the course of time, as that development is being built, the cost of the building materials is going to go up, and therefore the price of the home is just naturally going to go up. So if you are buying one of the first homes in that development, like, this might be super great news for you, because you're going to buy that new construction home at the lowest available price. Maybe even in the beginning, prices are more negotiable, like just a little bit. Maybe they'll give you a deal if you're like the first one to buy. But if you're like in the first like 10 to 15 homes to buy, you're probably going to get the best deal on that home that you could get. And then as the prices increase in the neighborhood, as it gets developed, really you are just getting like bonus equity into your home. It's kind of like risk versus reward. The reward is obviously like as the neighborhood gets developed, you're getting more equity in your home. Now on the flip side, the risk to that is, what if that neighborhood like doesn't get finished? And that is a real risk. So if we rewind and go back to like our 2008 real estate market crisis, like whole, economy implosion. We had a lot of new developments that were simply the developers ran out of money and then the neighborhoods weren't finished. And what you end up is like a really spotty neighborhood with a bunch of like pipes sticking out of the ground. It's super unattractive and it's going to plummet the value of that home until those things eventually, hopefully one day, do get developed by someone else. Another con for new construction, if it has a homeowners association, you should know that that will be controlled by your builder until every home in that neighborhood is sold. So not just built, but sold. You want to make sure that whatever those covenants are things that you can live with in the meantime or forever for the life of you living there, because ultimately that could be like several years. The builder will sometimes hang on to like that last property just so they can continue to control that HOA so that their name and their association with that development fully represents what the builder is looking to do and not necessarily the best interests of the homeowners in that. Another con, or just another something to think about, I don't like to call them cons, I just want to say like, hey, consider this, is there might be some upfront costs when you're buying your new home that you weren't necessarily like thinking or prepared for, or if you buy an established home would likely automatically come with the home. Things that I'm talking about are just like certain fixtures or certain appliances, or even like one big thing is blinds. Oftentimes with new construction, that property just won't have blinds, and blinds are not cheap, so you would really have to then pay, install, measure, all of that stuff for blinds before you move in. Just a couple last cons to share. One kind of weird one for new construction is you might just like not have an address that's recognizable for like a while. So, if you like to order a lot of food delivery, or, like tell people to use Google to come over to your house, like your address doesn't exist. So you have to like petition these services to like recognize your address, or if you're signing up for utilities, they'll be like, that's not a thing. So that's kind of like a small annoyance, but it's an annoying thing. And finally, something to consider, say you are buying a lot and you've picked your floor plan and you've picked all your stuff, but the house has not started construction. Just know that there could be some considerable delays to that new construction from the builder. So either like building materials don't come in, or like heaven forbid that developer run out of money, or like whatever the case may be. In the contracts for new construction, there is so little wiggle room for the buyer to miss any of your deadlines in terms of payments for new construction, but the builder has a lot of leeway built into the contracts typically that just allow them all of these delays. Okay. So we've gotten through the pros and cons, and now I just want to share some tips. Definitely do your research on not the development, but the builder. You can check their website, you can check out other developments that they have completed. You can maybe even go see something that is for resale in one of those other developments, and just check the quality of the construction. Hopefully you are using a realtor or real estate agent for this transaction so that they can like give you their opinion about the builder and just talk to you about, what other people's experiences have been and just what their reputation is in the city that you live. Another tip is typically what you'll see now is that there will be some closing cost incentives offered if you choose to go with the preferred lender. And my advice here is definitely talk to that lender because, you know, closing costs or just various cost incentives where you get money back in the transaction is always a plus. But always make sure you are also shopping that mortgage around to other lenders. Another tip is just to know when you are choosing your upgrades or your finishes, what is worth spending on, what upgrades are really going to increase the value of your home. Now, if that doesn't matter to you and you want the upgrades and the finishes that you want, like, go for it. But just know that there are certain things that are actually going to add value to the home and other things that really you're just spending money on. So those are my pros and cons and extra tips for buying new construction. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, check out my other videos. Leave me a comment below what you liked about this video and what else you want to see about North Atlanta living.